So 90% mindset, 10% skill set. And those of you who have been a part of my coaching call for the past 3 years know that I'm going to spend more time on skill set than mindset, because having the best mindset possible without mastering that 10% skill set is still going to lead to failure, or it's going to lead to mediocrity. And every so often, we're going to have a mindset conversation. Now, I don't know if that's today or not. I thought about this a lot as I was preparing for this. But I'm going to share some thoughts with you from Secrets to Success by Jack Canfield. It's an old book, so Google it, YouTube it, look it up, you'll find it. And here's what he shares. He shares to respond. We respond to what the brain, on the basis of previous experience, expects to happen next. You know, that's interesting. As I look back over the last 40 years of my life, I've accomplished a lot of things, and I've made some really stupid screw-ups. And, you know, I wonder if anybody else can resonate with that. It's almost like you've got a thermostat for success. And when you get to that level of success that your mind can accept, and you start pushing above that, the thermostat kicks in. It's like it's too hot, AC turns on to cool off the room. I'm thinking I'm succeeding at a level higher than I've ever succeeded before. And it's not self-sabotage, but it's something that we do that causes us to get back to comfort. Does anybody resonate with that? Am I just here talking to myself? Like thumbs up, wave at me, do something. Okay, good. So I'm not the only one. That's a good thing. All right, expectancy theory. Here's what expectancy theory says. Through a lifetime's worth of events, our brain learns what to expect next. Interesting. For those of you who are ex-KW and you've gone to Bold and you've learned point FAR, this is point FAR, it's programming. Programming leads to thoughts. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to results, and results lead back to programming. When you replace your old negative expectations with more positive ones, when you begin to believe that what you want is possible, your brain will take over the job of accomplishing that possibility for you. Your brain will actually expect to achieve that outcome. You guys heard what you focus on expands? Whatever you focus on, the most dominant pictures you have in your mind, you will subconsciously move towards that picture. Now, what I want you to do on a sheet of paper is I want you to start describing your life a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Just write down the first half a dozen things that come to you when you're living your best life. And here's what we're doing. I'm going to use a coaching model with you, future positive, present positive. And what I want you to do is just make a box and draw 4 squares. All right. This box way over here is your future positive. And what I want you to do is just write down the first 5 or 6 things that come to your mind regarding your future positive in reference to money, in reference to your job, in reference to your home, in reference to your lifestyle. What does your life look like when, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, all of these things are a 10? Just write it down. The first half a dozen things that come to you, don't let your subconscious stop you and say, you're thinking too big. That's not possible. You've never done that before. Nathan can do that, but you can't do that. It works in Florida, but it doesn't work in California. It worked 20 years ago, but it doesn't work now. These are all limiting beliefs that are designed to put the brakes on, to cause you to get back to comfortable, because you've got this financial thermostat that is holding you back. All right, the next thing I want you to do in this box over here, I want you to list where you are today. On the same things: money, job, home, lifestyle. And we'll call this box present positive. In other words, what's going well? Where are you at right now? What does your life look like right now? What's going well for you in these areas? Now, the next thing I want you to do is, I want you in this bottom left box, I want you to write down a list of all of the obstacles that are standing between where you are and where you want to be, the obstacles that are standing between your present positive and your future positive. So we'll call this box present negative. In other words, what are the obstacles that are holding me back from getting to that future positive? Now, be honest. Don't try to talk yourself out of writing down a real obstacle, all right? Whatever it is, write it down, please. Most people ignore these things. They justify them. They say things like, I'm happy, I'm comfortable. It's not all about money. You know, my answer whenever I'm talking to somebody who says it's not all about money, first of all, I agree. I do. God gave me talents. He gave you talents. My job is to increase those talents while I am here serving him. And if the result of that leads to more money, then I can do more good. Have you ever wanted to help somebody, but you couldn't because you didn't have the money? Well, next time somebody comes to you and they're in a crisis and they need help and you don't have the money to give them, please remember you said it's not all about money. So I'm going to take a leap of faith here and say something that some of you may not like. It is all about the money. The more you make, the more you can help, the more good you could do. All right. So most people, when they're looking at these obstacles that are standing between where they are and where they want to be, they justify them. They justify them with things like, I'm happy, I'm comfortable, it's not about the money. Okay, no worries, that's fine. But here's the thing I want you to understand. If you don't eliminate these things, this will never happen. What's going to happen is you're going to go straight here, which is future negative. And future negative simply means all these things you listed up here. All right. I'm earning $1 million a year in passive income. I've semi-retired so that I can spend more time with my family. Okay, cross it out, not happening. You're not earning $1 million a year in passive income. You're not semi-retired. You're selling real estate until you're 90 years old, and you're not spending the time with your family. Just cross it out, and just please remember you chose that. You chose that by not eliminating the obstacles. All right. If one of the things you put over here in future positive is you're putting money away to send your grandkids to college, how awesome would that be? Now cross it out, because it's not happening, because you didn't remove the obstacles, or you ignored the obstacles. And just remember, you chose that. You chose it by thinking the way you think. Everything starts here. And you literally have to reprogram your brain in order for you to be able to accomplish the life that you want to accomplish. You know, being 100% transparent, right? One of the things that I do every day is I write down 4 boxes. And one of the boxes are my goals for 2028. And why did I choose 2028? Because that's my date for being semi-retired. All right, I wrote down my goal. I write down my goals for 2024 for the year. And then I write down my quarterly goals and I write down this week's goals. And I do this every single day. Why? Because your conscious is the goal setter. Your subconscious is the goal getter. You have to reprogram your subconscious mind to go get the goals that you have set. If you don't set goals, then you haven't even taken the first step in order to get the future positive. Now, if you write them down one time and then you don't look at them ever again, well, consciously you set the goals, but you haven't triggered your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is still thinking the same way it used to think. It's still got the same old programming. It's expecting the same old results. And if you do happen to see some more success in your life, it will pull you back just like a thermostat kicks on and cools off the room when it gets too hot. Now, one of the ways we fix this is by activating the subconscious mind. How do you do that? Program it every day. Repetition is the mother of learning. Get to a point where you've internalized it at a level where you don't have to write it down. You don't have to look at it, even though you're going to, okay? Even though you're going to, because you've internalized it here. Being totally transparent, 61 years old. And I've had some periods in my life where I was really successful. And then I've also had times in my life when I just screwed everything up. And looking back, those times when I screwed everything up, not when life happened, because that happens too. But looking back at those times when I screwed things up, it was always at a point where I had gotten to a level of success that I was not comfortable with. Now, hopefully you learned this sooner than I did. All right. If you're listening to me, either as part of this live coaching conversation we're having, or you're watching a video, hopefully you're younger than me and you're learning this at an early age, or you're smarter than me and you've already figured it out. You have to reprogram your subconscious mind if you're going to get where you want to get. If you don't reprogram your subconscious mind, you will continue the life that you have lived to this point. All right, talk to me.
Hey, John, I'm not going to take myself up on video because I'm under the weather, but I wanted to say that this is always impactful to hear you open up and share your own journey, because it's not an easy thing to practice reprogramming. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm making great strides, and then other times I feel like, you know, I'm taking 10 steps back with my mental progress.
Yeah. Joan, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being transparent. I promise you somebody here needed to hear what you had to say. All right, guys, I want to hear from a couple more of you. Who's next?
John, I just started reading this book called The 12-Week Year.
Yeah.
And you touched on a few things that are in this book. And I started reading it. It started out slow, but it's gotten really good. So I don't know if anybody else wants to read it. I actually saw it on Workplace. Somebody was asking to join a book club, which that's usually not me, but I said, sure, why not? Let's do something new. So
Love it.
it's actually really good. And you touched on a lot of those points.
Thank you, Heather, for sharing that. You're right. That's a great book. Absolutely is. You know, one of the principles behind that book is when we set goals for the year, one of the reasons that we don't achieve the goals is because we lack the urgency, because 52 weeks, that's a long time. If I don't have a great week, I'll make it up next week. If I have a bad month, I'll make it up next month. But when you break the year down to 4 quarters, you've got 3 months to hit your goals. Now you've got urgency. And Heather, thank you for sharing that. All right. Who's next, guys? I want to hear from a couple more of you.
I have something.
I'm going to hit
Sandra.
stop record just because, I don't know, maybe